everyone, welcome back to Screen. I'm Andrew, and this is Chris.
Hello, I'm Chris.
Well, they did it again. They announced there's going to be a Sonic movie.
They just can't stop. First Mario, now Sonic.
I feel like I knew about the Sonic movie like a few years ago, but
it was one of those things that was in talks for quite some time.
Well, I guess it's happening, but it's supposed to be half live action, half animated, which is an odd choice.
Yeah, I think you mean terrible choice.
Well, we'll have to see how they do.
No, it'll be terrible.
And you'll have to see how we do, because we're gonna try to make our own. I guess semi-predictive, like what they're gonna do, but try to also make it good. Doing a Sonic movie is a little bit difficult because there are a bunch of canons to sort of pull from. We have the kind of classic era Sonic, and then you have the modern era of Sonic. You have the kind of spin-off era of Sonic Boom. I feel like the adventure era is also a thing. And then there's Sonic 06, which is kind of an alternate universe in the modern era, I think.
I guess.
It's a little bit weird. And then you have the comics, and then you have the original comic with the origin that came out with the game. You have the Japanese comic where Sonic was, a little hedgehog boy who could transform into Sonic the Hedgehog, and his parents didn't know about it. The Sat-AM or Sat-AM morning cartoon from the 90s. There's the Sonic Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog. There's the Sonic X, Sonic Underground, and some of these relate to each other, but mostly they don't. People have tried to sort of lump all of these things into the same timeline. I don't know if that quite fits that way.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not quite enough of a Sonic expert to really know for sure if it actually does, but it doesn't seem like it. It feels like some things are a bit of a stretch.
The Sonic world is a very confusing, weird, strange world.
So the audience for this movie, we got current fans of the current series.
Yep.
We got the older generation who kind of. I still feel like you gotta count that weird fan base who's just really into the characters. I feel like they need a little something too. So you gotta have Sonic, you gotta have Eggman, you gotta have Tails. I imagine you want Knuckles, you want Amy in there.
Gotta have Nux, yeah.
And also we gotta figure out what the tone of this is going to be.
Probably an action comedy.
That seems to be the case with the more modern games.
I mean, I'm pro making this an origin movie because when we did Mario was interesting since Mario is ubiquitous, everything's always the same, so going with an established world is a fun way to kind of buck expectations and make a fun movie. Whereas with Sonic, because there's multiple different continuities to the point where Generations is hey, here's two Sonics to play with.
Multiple continuities, or at best, a very convoluted continuity.
Yeah, they kind of merged the two with this game since he bumps into other Sonic who...
Yeah, I mean, Sonic Forces, that's another thing where, that's an interesting world to set the story in, because, it kind of reminds me of the Sat-AM sort of freedom fighters group. If the story is kind of tied in with the Chaos Emeralds, I feel like it probably has something to do with that.
I feel like we should use the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, and Knuckles is sort of his tribe was sort of the protectors of the Master Emerald, that kind of was the foil to the Chaos Emeralds. He's the last of his kind protecting the Emerald. Well, we should talk a little bit about Sonic's personality, how we want to do this, because he's really usually depicted as this sort of arrogant kind of sometimes almost kind of a jerk, I feel like, and I kind of like Sonic as sort of a confident, maybe chipper, but ultimately selfless kind of guy. He's sure he likes being fast, he gets bored easily, whatever, but I feel like he's putting himself on the line for everyone all the time. Knuckles could be a fun foil to that in terms of he's got this almost sacred duty to protect the island, protect the Emerald.
But I think the first one should be, this is the first time Sonic meets Eggman.
So it's kind of his first time in the Sonic world. This is his origin story, you're thinking.
Yeah. We don't necessarily know what he's been up to before here, but...
Right. Maybe he shows up, know that.
He's going for the Chaos Emeralds.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he tricks Knuckles into thinking Sonic's the one stealing them.
Sure, yeah.
But the trick is, why would he do that? Sonic's never met Eggman.
Yeah. Maybe that's one of the parts we can kind of cut out. We can keep the spirit of Knuckles being this, like, protector of the emeralds, but maybe he doesn't need Robotnik to mistrust Sonic. He just sees some guy showing up to, Angel Island looking for his sacred emerald, and he doesn't need
anything else.
Doesn't need anything else. He's just sworn to protect it. I think Act 2, the beginning of Act 2, the adventure, the Sonic adventure, if you will, I think it's getting those emeralds.
All right.
I think Act 1 is all about setting up why he needs them. There's Eggman. He's found a place, and he's going to use these animals essentially as batteries, sort of like the Matrix sort of thing. And he's just doing it. He's not like talking to them. It's beneath him. And he's like, certain animals of the community start going missing or something. Sonic finds out that he's looking for the Chaos Emeralds, and that's going to doom the planet. So he goes off on an adventure to find the 6 or 7, however many we want. Maybe he doesn't get them all. He defeats Eggman, but doesn't get all the emeralds. And it's, he doesn't actually defeat him. It's the bad ending. And then Act 3 is the true ending, where he gets the last emerald, he becomes supersonic, and then actually defeats him. And then somewhere in the middle, he meets Knuckles, who sort of like, maybe is that sort of his foil a little bit, but in the end becomes his ally. We got Tails also, and we got Amy. I feel like Amy might be the easiest one just to like stick at the beginning, because her story is pretty simple. Like, she got saved by him in Sonic CD and like a weird, I think it might have been in the future, I don't know.
Yeah.
But and then there's another, in other iterations, she's just what knew him her whole life. Like, Tails could just be there at the beginning. It could be that simple.
Yeah.
But he also could be a plot point at the beginning too. He could be like my parents have been turned into robots.
Yeah,
I
he
need
could be
your
the
help.
one that like brings the plot to Sonic.
Yeah. I hear you're Sonic the Hedgehog. I hear you're, a great, you get things done or something like that. Sonic is maybe just known for being like a good guy who's never been on like in a huge adventure like this, but he's sort of like the all-star quarterback of his town. He's the guy who's he's super fast. He gets things done. I think a lot of the characters, I guess besides Metal Sonic, that we know and love can be in that first act. They could just be the inhabitants of this world.
Yeah.
Like pretty much any of them. Maybe save a few of them for sequels, like like Shadow or whatever.
Well, I feel like the ones that are major adversaries of other games.
Yeah, probably hold off on those.
Yeah, they show up for other movies or something.
Cream in, she could be in there.
Yeah, but like the buddies and a lot of the cast of Chaotix, they could just be inhabitants.
Yeah, the Chaotix will definitely. Now Amy's got that kind of fortune telling that comes up occasionally, where she sort of has premonitions or whatever. Tails is also the tech guy.
Yes.
So he could even be the one who figures out that the emeralds are important. Maybe he needs to like reverse engineer one of these robots and figures out something like maybe Amy knows about the Chaos Emeralds, because she's sort of has that sort of mystic vibe to her. So Tails is the tech guy. Maybe Amy in this universe is like the expert on the lore of the Chaos Emeralds. And so then the three of them go on an adventure. They're looking for the Chaos Emeralds, collecting 6 or 7. Let's make it 6 at least. Like, that's a lot of like story about just finding things. I don't know.
I would think it's a dumb movie if it was just collecting 6 things.
Yeah.
So I feel like their goal is to get them, but Eggman is getting a bunch. That way they just have all of them at the end.
That's true. That's a good point.
Like, the heroes just need to get 1, maybe 2.
Maybe if we change the canon just slightly, that Knuckles isn't protecting like the Master Emerald, he's just protecting one of the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
Like
one that was passed down by his grandmother.
Maybe it's like an important one. I don't know if that feels weird to people who are really into Sonic, but we need to cut emeralds out of this movie. There are too many emeralds.
When you're making a game, collecting things is the go-to plot because that's how you make a game. Like, you need objectives, you need stages.
Yeah.
So you divvy it up like that. For a movie, that's dumb. That's garbage.
It's too much collecting. What we need is we need some story arc. We need some character arc. You know, what is Sonic's journey? What is his character arc?
Maybe we start and Sonic is just a guy who's really into being fast. He knows he's the fastest. He takes a lot of pride in that, but he doesn't use it for anything.
What if it's he needs to learn to sort of trust other people in terms of trust their abilities, where he is maybe going through this adventure, maybe he's okay having friends. He's got friends. He's got a lot of friends. He's a very popular guy, but it's not that he thinks like, oh, I'm the best, you guys suck. It's sort of like, I don't want you guys to get hurt, and I know I'm better than you. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but really leave this to me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it might be him sort of trusting in Tails' ability, you know, his tech ability, trusting Amy's like kind of spirituality, for lack of a better word, you know, trusting Knuckles' strength and agility. Like he has to learn teamwork. Like a super powered kind of guy who's always been looked up to by everyone has to trust a team.
And that could play into the Knuckles conflict, because Knuckles is here on a family mission almost.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is my familial duty. This gem that's been stolen by Eggman's been my thing. And Sonic's like, you know, you can't. Like,
yeah, and that could be his hardest challenge. Like, you know, with Amy, you know, Amy's his friend, and so there's like different rules, and then there's Tails, who's like a kid, and there's different rules there, but Knuckles is like just as strong-willed as Sonic, and there's that sort of, you know, they're butting heads there a little bit, and he doesn't believe that Knuckles is as skilled as he is. You know, who's this jerk who thinks he's better than me? You know, maybe at the midpoint, he's kind of put in a situation where he really does need to rely on them. He starts to accept that.
Yeah.
All right, this is fine. I don't know. I feel very unenthusiastic about this whole thing.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Like, I'd see this movie we're talking about, sure, but
the gameplay of Sonic is counterintuitive to a movie in every way. It's collecting a whole bunch of things, which is not fun for a movie.
Going very fast.
Going very fast, which, like, if you want to show that, which you kind of have to because it's Sonic, like, no one likes watching that kind of thing, and you can't tell a story doing that, so it has to be, like, just a thing that happens in one sequence and another sequence.
Yeah. Usually when we're doing these screen-to-screen adaptations, the source material is very abstract.
Yeah.
And when there's so much to draw from, it's sort of just picking and choosing what parts you like and putting them in a movie. A little bit of the reason why I'm having trouble with this is I want to give these characters backstory, but I don't want to. I personally, I feel like I'm stepping on the toes of other backstories, because like Robotnik has a backstory, Eggman has a backstory. Not that they're two different people, but like different eras have different backstories.
Yeah, and again, there's two of everything.
There's at least two of everything.
At the very least, there's this version of Sonic and his Eggman, and there's this version of Sonic and his Eggman. And yeah, and that's only the two of them.
And those are probably the two most important canons. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not going to give any sort of thought to like the Archie comics.
No.
Even though, like, I'm sure a lot of people seeing that movie and excited for that movie are fans of the Archie comics. I know I'd be satisfied personally if they just did Sat AM and made it less silly.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'd like. But I mean, I know like there's a lot of Sonic fans, a lot of different types of Sonic fans. And
there are a lot of different types of Sonics.
You kind of want to appeal to all of them if you can, I feel like.
I feel like that is impossible.
Well, to give everyone a little something, I think is possible.
You can give everyone, like, a taste of something, but there's no way to satisfy both the old-fashioned Sonic fans and the new Sonic fans, because they are very different from each other.
I think you could find, like, a fun middle ground, you know, maybe use a lot of the modern characters and situations, but then, you know, really pull it back to the old, you know, levels and simple storyline. You know, you have a story just about collecting Chaos Emeralds, but you have like Charmy Bee is in there, and then there's like Styx the Badger, and people like characters who are new, you know, for a newer audience, but a simple storyline. I didn't see this, but I heard the newest Pokemon movie, I think it was a Pokemon I Choose You. It pretty much retold multiple seasons of story.
Yeah.
And it gave the old fans something, it gave the new fans something. It's also, as I understand, a pretty self-contained movie.
Yeah.
And not great for sequels. It seems like it's almost all too easy to make something watchable out of this. That whatever, you know, either you're gonna be good or it's gonna be bad. And
like, the problem is you can make something that's going to be a movie, but I don't know if you can make something that's gonna be like, wow, that was the quintessential Sonic experience.
Yeah, that's hard, and I think that's what we set out to do today, and it's too hard because there's a lot of Sonic. I think what they're going to do is pretty much take the modern Sonic and Eggman, make him live action. I don't think they should do that part.
No, but that's almost certainly what
if they just took the modern Sonic and made a movie out of that, it's pretty easy. Like, they have a plot where some weird thing happens, Eggman has this idea, and then Sonic has to stop it, and there's some sort of gimmick because it's a game, and the movie part could just be a different gimmick. It's interesting that this episode turned into less about us trying to make the Sonic movie, more about us trying to comprehend the Sonic movie.
Yeah, I'm convinced it will be a terrible movie.
I think you're right. It will be, but I'm holding out hope. I think it's definitely possible for it to be good. The stars have to align. There's like a lot of things that need to happen in order for this to be good.
I'm largely indifferent as to whether or not it comes out all right.
I'm not gonna be crushed because like Sonic hasn't been good for a while. It's just starting to like become something that people like again, and I don't know, it would be nice to have a good Sonic movie. I would enjoy that. Like if I had like a year to study Sonic and get all of the little details, I think that's what I would do, is that I would find all of the things that are consistent in all of the worlds, find the most favorite ones, and build a story all around that, and, you know, make a good story. You can adapt a game into a movie, but Sonic is more than a game. It's got a whole thing. Like it's got comics, it's got shows, it's got stories that people really like, and it's also got contradictions within itself.
Yes. And
it's hard to just come out of the gate and say, "Hey, let's make a movie out of all of that stuff and try to make it so people like it." Well, I certainly would love to know what you in the comments would like to see in a Sonic movie.
Yeah, if you're like a Sonic superfan, help us out.
I wouldn't mind trying another crack at this, but like at this point, I feel like I said all I can about it. And of course, if there's any other movies, games, TV shows you want us to adapt,
yeah, give us some ideas.
So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.